So are my gags organic yet? No. I mean, it's fully grown. Now it's organic. What, I had to come visit the tree and like give it a hug to make it go, ah, yes, senpai, I am now organic. Namaste. What the heck? How's it going, everybody? It's your pal Mega Snoop, and you're gonna watch me try to get into the busy district. Toon tip, how to get into the busy district. You wait. I am going insane. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about one of the little aspects of the new Toontown Written update. I'll say this, it was a really big update, and there were a lot of changes made to this game. And I do want to preface this by saying I think most of the changes are good. Not just neutral, good. Like actual good changes. However, with that, there have been maybe 2 changes that I and a lot of the rest of the community disagree with. And one of them is this. This does nothing for me anymore. This used to be the place in the busy district where people from all over used to gather to be able to do mints, whether it was coins, dollars. Now I gotta go all the way over to this guy who had to run over there first just to even participate in a group. So if you don't know what happened and you don't know what the changes are, in order to even start a boarding group, you have to go near the elevator for the group you want to make. And then when you create the group, you have to do it through the side icon that you can't see because my face cam's in the way. You have to do it through the side icon where you click and then click on somebody's name and click to invite them. You can no longer immediately just click on somebody's name and invite them. You have to create the group first. And once you do start a group and invite them, there's no go button. In order to begin, you have to go inside the elevator. And I brought up the patch notes just so I can read exactly what they wrote. After careful consideration, we've made a few design changes to boarding groups to encourage healthier gameplay and a better experience for new players. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, none of these players here are new players. Everybody going into this bullion mint is not a new player. So first and foremost, this caters to a small percentage. Almost everybody going into a bullion is not going in for the first time. It's not. And any new player I've seen has picked up on the system that we already have fairly quickly. To form a boarding group, you must blah blah blah. I've already explained this. We know that some players may be disappointed with this change, but please give it a shot. I've given it a week. I've given it a shot. I still do not like it. Even when it first came out and I read over it, I went, this can't be too bad, right? But then I saw it in practice. And whether you're doing a factory, a VP, a CFO, or even a mint, this has not been a healthy change for a major amount of the player base. Trying to cater to the small amount that are confused with how the system works in a game is not the way to go. And I'm guessing that this sparked because some new player complained, being like, I don't really understand what I'm supposed to do. How do I do this? Whereas with nearly every MMO game, every single one of them already has incorporated systems within the game. There are kind of unspoken rules when it comes to that game. And this is no exception. It's not like they have some sort of like banner across the top that says use sound only. No, people figured out that sound was the best gag because they played the game and they learned from the people around them. These unspoken rules are just a testament to MMOs. And not only are they rules, but they're systems. One of the things that genuinely helped with things like mints was being able to say any, being able to go right into Cashbot HQ, not have to go too far, and immediately just put something in your thought bubble to organize where you want to go. And then not having to run halfway across the entire area just to show that that's the one that you're interested in. And this is really important when it comes to something like having to recover something from a robber baron or loan shark, right? Like I could theoretically do that in any mint. I don't specifically need a coin or a dollar or a bullion. It was super easy to walk in and just say, I'll take whatever, as opposed to having to scout out every elevator to see potential groups. It slows down gameplay and makes it more tedious for the long-term players to get where they need to go. Their excuse is, we believe it'll create a much better experience for everyone by trying to make it more apparent which facilities toons are trying to enter. For the most part, we already do that by putting it in our thought bubble. We already do that when we go to the factory, don't we? It's either long or short. And even so, why do we now have to run all the way to the elevator to do it? Something else I learned is that once you've created a boarding group for one elevator, you can't change your mind and go to the other elevator. I wanted to do a factory, and I was by the front entrance, and I created a boarding group, and then we decided, hey, let's actually start at the side instead. So I run all the way to the side to find out that we can't enter that elevator as the boarding group, so we had to disband the boarding group, recreate a boarding group, get everybody back in, and then go into the elevator. And even with all that said, there was a bug where I couldn't recreate the group because even though I was at the side elevator now, when I disbanded the group and tried to create a new group, it still thought I was trying to go into the front elevator. It's really obnoxious. And then their last excuse is that it is to encourage exploration in a way that's been lost over the years in COG HQs. Well, then maybe you should redesign the COG HQ to not be larger than the state of Missouri. Listen, I think what you did with Bossbot HQ is beautiful, right? But it's still incredibly large. Look at what Corporate Clash did with their Lawbot HQ, how they just shrunk it. And it looks gorgeous and it's practical, and I don't have to read a novel trying to pass the time to get from one end to the other. I will give them this. The introduction of being able to use this boarding group system to create groups for buildings on streets is actually a marvelous idea. It's great. I do like that portion of it. Everything it's done to the HQs has been awful. Trying to do a CFO, I gotta walk in and then walk all the way up to the elevator, not knowing how many people are up there. And because of the fact that this was bugged for a while and joining boarding groups kind of broke everything, people didn't even want to make boarding groups and we were just doing elevator shuffles again, which again is confusing. Now I could sit here and complain all the live long day or just go revert it, but I'd like to actually provide some constructive criticism here. I think that the system we had is beautiful. Leave the elevators if people want to use them, but I would love to see TTR more lean into this by creating safe spaces for people to create boarding groups. It already is pretty inconvenient already to create a boarding group the old way because you had everyone clumped up on the stairs in Cashbot HQ, or you'd have everybody gathered around the front part of the factory as soon as you walk in, and it was causing people to bump into each other and accidentally run back out through the tunnel, or they'd run into cog battles, and it was just gross. So if you could like create a safe space in front of the entrance of these areas to allow people to create groups, I think genuinely that would be a healthy alternative to whatever this monstrosity is. Especially when it comes to bosses, because you make those rooms to get to the elevator so large. God, I miss the go button so much. TTR is a slow game. People are kind of annoyed at it for already being a slow game, but when you add walking all the way to the elevator and then waiting for the elevator, and then you got to do that 76 times in order to max your suit, that's a lot of time that adds up. A lot of time. So hopefully all the points I've made kind of help cement the outcries of the rest of the community, because I can't think of one person that thinks this is a good idea. Except maybe Loopy Goopy G. Steven, I love you. But otherwise, if you're not going to revert it, please at least change it and update it to allow us more freedom with how we create our boarding groups. And I know some people are going to watch this video and be like, there's Mega Snoop being negative again. He hates everything. I loved this update, and I would love to make another video highlighting all the great things about this update. But I wanted to get these first ideas off my chest while they were fresh. So, beautiful update. This is probably the one problem I have with it. Everything else was a step forward. This is the one step back. And hopefully we can have some sort of compromise or some sort of fix to this so that we can have a better, healthier gaming experience in the future. But that's gonna be it for me. I appreciate you guys watching the video. I genuinely would love to know what you guys think as well. What do you think of the boarding group changes? Again, I love seeing them on the streets helping you form building groups, but in the COG HQs, it seems to really be hurting the people who are trying to do those max merits or the max bullions. It just doesn't seem to be a good change for the majority. Go ahead and leave a like if you did enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay awesome. God bless. And peace.